Hi, I've had a requester asking how to make this banner. Now banners aren't hard. Well, some of them might be, but this one isn't. What you have to be able to do is look at this banner and kind of take it apart, and you have to think of it in terms of layers. Now Obviously this right-hand side picture of soccer player Rooney with his number 10 jersey facing you, his back facing you. That's the background layer, and we can tell because it's got part of its edge over here along the top. Do you have to find a picture that's that long? No, and I didn't, and I'm going to show you how to do it with a picture that's not that long. Second up is this red rectangle. That's going to be your next layer. And on that red rectangle are 4 pictures and some text. So you're going to have a number of layers here. Now I'm going to click the magnifying glass, hold down the Alt key, and the magnifying glass turns into a minus sign. So you can zoom out and make this smaller. And we're going to leave this up in the corner as our example as we work. Okay. I've made a background layer that's longer than it is high. And you don't really need to have it exact, because we're going to crop it at the end and make it the size we want it to be. But it should be large enough so that you can place all of your pictures and backgrounds and red rectangles and everything on it. So it takes a little bit of planning. How long, how wide do you want your banner to be? How high do you want your banner to be? And then make a background, which is white, and it's 300 dots per inch resolution. And open that up. Now I've selected some pictures. And right-click on a picture and restore. And you'll notice here we have Einstein. And actually this Einstein, let me make him like he originally was. Einstein, the original picture, looked like this. His face was on the left-hand side of the photo. And you notice in our example, we need something on the right-hand side of our photo. So what we're going to do is we come up here to Image, Rotate, and in the first section, flip horizontal. And then Einstein's in the correct orientation. Come up to the top of the toolbar, click on the Move tool, click and drag Einstein onto our background. And we're going to minimize him. Click on him and then move him over here. Like I say, it doesn't have to be exact. Next, we need to make a red rectangle. And so we're going to click in here inside the workspace. And we want to go to the bottom or to the top, depending upon what version of Photoshop or Elements you have. And we're going to click on that first icon to create a new layer, and it creates a new layer that happens to go under the old layer. Okay, let me drag that down. One nice thing about the Layers panel, except for the background layer, which is locked and stuck at the bottom, you can drag layers all over the place. Okay, so click on that layer, make sure it's highlighted, come over to the toolbar, once again click on the rectangular marquee tool, and I say once again because I used this in the last tutorial I made, and just drag out a long rectangle. It doesn't have to match the picture of Einstein at all. We're going to make it match. Come down here to the bottom of the toolbar, click on the foreground color swatch, the black one. Click on red. Back to the toolbar, paint bucket tool, click, and we've got a red rectangle. On your keyboard, hold down the Control key, press the letter D, and the selection boundary, the marching ants, disappears. Back to the top of the toolbar, click the Move tool, click the red rectangle, hold down the Alt key, and just kind of make it smaller. Now you hold down the Alt key. The Alt key means that all the sides move at the same time. Now I may want to make this longer, shorter, whatever. Okay, now I'm just going to do it without holding down the Alt key. I'm going to eyeball it up there. And as long as we're working with the same shape or the same image, we do not have to click the green check mark every time. And I'm going to make this a little longer. Now click it. Okay, you can see a little bit of the top here showing. The way to tweak that is to click on the magnifying glass, come up here, click on the move tool, click the red rectangle, and then just pull this corner up until it meets the top. Click on the green check mark, view, fit on screen. There's a lot of this kind of tweaking that you have to do as you create things with either Photoshop or with Elements. Because when you have to line up lines, you have to line up lines. Now I'm going to use the arrow keys and move the red rectangle over a little bit because we're going to continue using the move tool. We're going to hold down the control key. We're going to click and hold on the upper right handle at that corner, and we're just going to slide it over. There you go. Okay, now it's time. Oh, notice we also... Okay. There we go. Okay, you continually have to tweak these things as they go out of alignment. Let's do our first. Remember, right click, restore, move tool, click and drag, minimize it back there, click on it, hold down the Alt key, make it small enough. Now, how do we know where to put our pictures? See how they're in a nice straight line? Well, we're going to need some guides. Now I'm going to click on the eye of that picture so it's not, whoops. So it's not in our way anymore. And that's another good example. If you do not click the green check mark, you cannot do anything else. Okay, we need some guides. So our pictures are all in a row. Click on view and click on rulers. Come up actually inside, put your cursor inside the white area of a ruler and click and drag down a guide. Now I've been doing this before, so I got a number of guides here already. Okay. And if you want to move the guides around, just put your cursor on them. They turn into two lines with double-headed arrows, and you can move those guides anywhere you want. Where your guides are depends on where you plan to place your text. Now, because you put your pictures before your text, this requires some planning. You've got to know what you plan to type in there and leave enough room for it. In our example, you can see there are 2 lines of text at the top and only 1 line of text at the bottom. So there's a little more space at the top on this one at the bottom. I'm going to try to make ours a little equidistantly. I'm just going to eyeball it or make it equidistant, not Lee. You got a ruler over here. If you want to, you can use that ruler. Okay, and I'm going to move this one over just a little bit. Now we get to place our photos. Let me click back in the layers panel, click the eye again. Now, hold down the Alt key, click on it. Hold down the Alt key, and we want our, there we go, picture. Well, that didn't work. Our picture to snap in there to the guides. Click the check mark, and then you want to slide this over. Notice how it snaps in the guides. You can slide it back and forth. Okay, hold down the control key and grab the upper right corner and just drag it out along that guideline until it's perpendicular with the edge of the red triangle. There you go. Next photo, restore, use the move tool, make sure you have the move tool, click and drag it up into our photo. Whoops, move it down, hold down the Alt key, minimize it, get it down there till it fits. Sometimes this works better than others. It's a little short, but okay. Okay, slide it over right against the next one. Okay, now you have a boundary. Now on your screens you may not be able to see that boundary with the handles of squares at each corner and in the middle of each side. Hold down the control key and just drag that upper right edge again until it's parallel with the other one. Now, notice that on the first one, I did not drag both upper corners over. Now normally using planets and artwork like this, I would. But in our example, let me view, fit to screen. In our example, we're using people, and we don't want people to lean off to the right. We want people to be straight up and down. So we're only moving one edge over. Okay? I gotta make our there we go. So we're only moving one edge over. Next photo. Oh my gosh, I've lost a picture. Ah. There we go. I have lost a picture. Here, let me, oh, that's that one. Okay, well, we'll have to go open, file, open, my practice pictures. Where is it? There it is, the little devil. Somehow or other got closed. Use the move tool. Click and drag it over there. Okay. This guy doesn't want to cooperate. Don't you love programs that bounce all over the place? Okay. Click on it. Hold down the Alt key. We're going to make this one small enough to fit in between our guidelines. It's a little bit short there. There we go. Move it over. You just want to snug it up to the next one. Hold down the Control key. Grab the upper right corner and drag it over. Okay, last picture. Now, last picture is kind of problematic. There's a rule in photography and art, or, you know, this is actually art where you're putting things together. You do not want anything pointing outside of the image. Now, this galaxy is pointing out. It would be pointing out away. It would take the viewer's eye away. So you've got to turn this around. So once again, come up to Image, Rotate, Flip Horizontal. Grab it with the Move tool and put it inside our workspace. Click on it, hold down the Alt key, make it small enough to fit in there, move it down where it belongs. Okay. Hold down the Control key, right edge. Now, you can't see the edges very well, so you're probably going to change this eventually. And click. Okay, now, we're off the edge here, etc., etc. Don't worry about it. Okay, we need to stroke these guys. Let me get this guy out of the way here. Use the Move tool. Click on the first image, which is right here. Open your effects panel. It's usually set to bevels when you first open it. Just use the drop down. Go to strokes. We want a nice kind of tight stroke. This one's 5 pixels. You may have to try some of them. Double click to apply it. When you apply it, get a little FX over here on the right side. Double click on it to bring up the little style settings. Now, I've practiced with this, of course. I'm using 7 pixels in size, 100% opacity. But you want to change the color. Click on the swatch once. It'll bring up the color picker. Click on white. Click on OK. And depending upon the size of the image you have, 7 pixels may be okay. You might need 5. You might need 12. Okay, you're going to have to do one and see if that's as wide as you want that stroke or that outline to be. And click on the second layer, or come up here and click on the second image. Double click to apply. Double click the effects. Click the swatch. Change it to white. Click OK. Click OK. Next layer. Whoops, I double clicked on it. There. Next layer. Okay, click on the swatch. Now normally after you've done the first one, your size and your opacity will be the same as the first one. Click OK. Something else you can do too is click on the picture, click on layer, layer style, and you can click on style settings there too if you forget. Okay, get the same thing except oh that didn't work. I didn't apply a style yet. There we go. Click on the effects, click on the swatch, click on the white, click on OK, click on OK. And there you have it, all of them. Okay, right in a row. Now you can still make changes to them. I mean, they still move, etc. Like I'm making a change on this red, and I'm dragging it out right to the edge. Okay, there you go. Okay, let me minimize our example. We don't need it anymore. And some of these lines, I got them pretty straight this time. It's particularly straight along the bottom, but it might be not so straight along the top. I notice it. You might not notice it. It might not be noticeable to anybody else, but I notice it. So what I want to do is use the magnifying glass, and I want to zoom in here. And I want to look at some of these, and you have to have kind of a rule in your mind. Up in the toolbar, click on the Move tool again. And I want to click. And what I want to make sure is that these handles are on the guide, that horizontal guideline coming through here. That looks pretty good. And use the Control key. Okay. That one's okay. Look on the next picture. That's on the line too. Just some of them, I guess, aren't... Maybe I have to just eyeball it for some reason. Like this one looks like it's on the line, but it's sticking up, so I'm going to pull it down. And see, when you pull it down, you lose that bump. So, this kind of tweaking, hold down the Control key. This kind of tweaking works. Okay, click on the green, we're done with that one. Click on the next picture. It looks nice too. Hold down the Control key. And come over here, and that one's okay. Then back to view, fit on screen. Okay, then you go to view, you want to get rid of the rulers, you want to get rid of the guides, click on them there. And there you go. Now, this last picture looks an awful too long, too big. We're going to move it in a little bit, just so we don't distort it. Okay, you don't want everybody to be, especially if you're doing people, you're going to make them all long and skinny. Then we're going to take the crop tool. Up here at the options bar on the left, aspect ratio, make sure you click on no restriction. And we're going to crop this. Make sure we catch everything. And you'll notice that, okay. Click OK. And there you have it. And if you compare that to, here's our example. Let's look at it a little more closely. Okay, here's our example. Let me pull this one off of here. And here's the banner we made. Not too bad, huh? So like I said, it takes some planning. You have to get the correct photos. Like I said, you're leaning them over. So you can actually crop them in that direction too, but that gets a little more, especially I'm using Photoshop Elements, so I haven't done that. It's just easier to lean them over a little bit. And there you go. There's your banner.